This project was super cool. I learned something new, which I didn't know I was capable of. It was even easy for me. At the beginning of the project, I didn't think I would be smart enough to figure out a code or create one. I was very successful at the beginning of the project, like the challenges. But at the sumobott, I only won one competition. But I enjoyed having a break of taking notes and doing other science stuff. This is an amazing way to work and learn about Lego robots. Force applied is a push or pull acting on an object. This works in the robot because when a robot pushes on the other robot, it is applying force to push its enemy. The code tells the robot to go on its higher speed when it perceives a robot, and that speed is the force that pushes the other robot. Force normal is the force opposing gravity because the robots are never flying. There is always a force normal. The robot is touching the ground at all times. Even though everyone would want the robot to fly, there is not a code for it to do that. Force friction is a force that slows down and allows the robot to move when it touches the ground or another object. If the robot wasn't touching the wood and instead it was touching an ice cube, which doesn't have much friction, the robot would slide all over the place. Force gravity is acting on the robot because it is pulling into the ground. We want its wheels to be touching the floor or wood of the sumobott. Newton's first law says that when something is at rest, it stays at rest unless there is an outside force. The outside force that makes the robot move is the code. Newton's second law is to move a mass, you need a force. This law acts on my robot because when we added too much mass for it to fight, we needed to take apart one part because it was too much mass for its little acceleration when it needed it the most. Newton's third law is every action has an equal or positive reaction. This law acts on my robot. When both robots crash when they see each other, they go to their maximum speed, and when they crash, they stop because the force is equal. The electrical energy transfers through the cables and transforms into mechanical energy for it to move. The wheels use mechanical energy because they are in motion. The cables of the robot use electrical energy because it transports the electricity to the sensors. The ultrasonic sensor uses sound energy because it senses sound, and when the sound touches a wall or an object, it bounces back to the ultrasonic sensor. It takes time on how much the sound traveled, and that's the way it measures distance. The color sensor uses radiant energy because it needs the light to compare color. The battery of the robot uses potential energy because the energy is stored inside the battery. The battery has chemical energy because it has chemical bonds in it. The robot uses gravitational energy because it's in the sumobott floor. It's not flying all over the place. Naomi and I had our good and bad days. The sumobott for me was the worst part of all the project because we failed a little bit. First, our code didn't work. When we already had done a sumobott before the competition, we tried different codes and it didn't work. We even used the code for the last sumobott we did. We found the problem, which was the color sensor code wasn't correct. So we changed it and tested. We were successful, but our class was over, so we couldn't test it with another robot. The next day, I built a weird thing that I didn't know what it was, so the robot would push harder on its enemy. And it worked! The day of the competition, we needed to build the weird thing I built the day before and test it. We started to build, but I just couldn't remember how I did it. So we had to improvise and we built a different thing. We won one time and the other we lost. I was proud of myself anyway. Our goal was to beat our robot enemies, but we only beat one. To wrap up this project, I would like to say that I learned a lot about teamwork and code. I liked every step of this project, the bad and the good days, the days Naomi and me were successful and the ones we weren't. I liked the competition and that one of my best friends won. I was proud of myself. I learned that there is so much more than just a Lego robot and the forces, Newton's laws and the energy types. We can really learn without taking notes.